coming to London since 1975, and the fans we have here are just some of the best in the world, so it's exciting to premiere the film here tonight. Very exciting. Oh, I wonder how I got so handsome. That's one of the first things. But he's done such a great job, of just where he drew the character from is just been wonderful. So it's a kick to watch the film. I love it. Well, considering that I didn't do a damn thing in the film, it wasn't that challenging for me. Watching it, I suppose that was it. Well, Scott's great. Scott is, if you've seen any of his other films, Crazy Heart or Out of the Furnace, he's a great writer-director at capturing a working class and blue collar influence, and he's one of the most generous collaborators I've ever worked with. If you have an idea, he's completely not defensive. He listens to any thoughts you might have. He was just a great partner to work with.
His popularity and the love that the European audiences have for Bruce Springsteen, starting in London, Wembley, I think, he sells out Wembley when he comes over here. So to have London kind of being our big premiere for our European opening is pretty incredible. And what an amazing city and what an amazing festival. We're so thrilled to be here. So when Ellen and I first read Warren Zanes' incredible book, Deliver Me From Nowhere, after hearing him on a podcast, we just felt like, that was the Nebraska album was such an important album to so many people. But he was going through such an important, pivotal transition in his life, both personally and artistically. And I've never seen something like that on screen. It was this internal transformation of a man alchemizing his demons and his emotions into his art. And there was something in the oeuvre and the genre of music biopics that telling this story that takes place over 1 year in a person's life, we've never seen that done that way before. And in terms of it now being the right time to tell that story, there was always something very urgent. We found this book in May of 2023, and here we are in October of 2025. We started shooting in October of 2024. So in Hollywood terms, that is an incredibly quick timeline. And so there's always been something very urgent about it. And I don't think this story could have been told at any other point in Bruce's life, because now he's at this point in his life where he's thinking about his legacy and how his stories are going to be told. And he has said this will be, the only story and the story to be told about him. And he's at this point in his life where he's reflecting. And I don't think at any other point he was ready to confront what he went through at that time. I mean, because we had Scott Cooper.
Right, and this was one of those projects that it was a story that needed to be told at that particular time. So as Eric said, it just happened so quickly. It feels almost like
lightning in a
just
bottle.
Lightning in a bottle.
Well, as Scott says, he has two things that Bruce Springsteen has, which are swagger and talent. They don't teach swagger at Juilliard.
Right.
But Jeremy, in addition to being one of our, I think, most incredible working young actors, he brought something to that role that was so necessary. The emotion on his face. If you watch The Bear, there are these scenes, specifically the ones that come to mind is when he's sitting in like the Al-Anon meetings and the camera's just on his face and he's not saying anything. And you read so much just with the look in his eyes. And even though he has blue eyes and Bruce has brown, we changed that. He just conveys so much of who Bruce was at that time, and he can identify with it emotionally, and he just really nailed it.
I mean, hopefully they've learned that, people are all equal, especially when it comes to, mental illness and dealing with your sort of generational trauma. And I think that this is one of those films that will give people an opportunity to search for help if they need it.
It's very special. It's very special. I've spent an okay amount of time in London, but never been to this festival, and there's a lot of great films playing here. I'm very proud to be here with this one. Yeah. There's like an energy shift when he walks into a room. Everything kind of like turns. Yeah. The first time we met was here. It was at Wembley. I got invited to go to see him in concert, and I saw him at Soundcheck. And as a performer, Bruce is kind of coming at you trying to cut your head off, and then when you spend some time with him and you shake his hand, he's very, very gentle, very kind, and in the preparation, it was a lot of time spent with him, finding a lot of interviews, a lot of books. Bruce has been very open, especially in the last 10 years, about his life, talking to a lot of people that knew him at the time, just trying to understand what was going on with him at the age of 31. Yeah, I mean, I hope they learn something new about Bruce Springsteen. I hope they learn something about the creative process and inspiration in music. And I hope they witness his kind of his bravery in this period, not just in his artistic integrity, but considering the environment he grew up in. How he was able to heal himself, or at least get on that path,
I love coming to this festival. I love this city. It's very meaningful to be here. I came here as a drama student, when I was 18, and this city holds a lot of the kind of mythology of acting for me. Jon sort of famously wrote an essay in 1974 where he said, "I have seen rock and roll's future, and its name is Bruce Springsteen." And it kind of changed the trajectory of Bruce's life and Jon's life. And for the 50 years, they've been sort of partners in crime, and Jon has acted as a kind of guide, spiritual guide, musical guide, business guide, and, been there to support Bruce and assist him in realizing and expressing and translating his vision. It's been a real privilege spending time with them and in their world, as you can imagine. Yeah, spent a lot of time with Bruce, spent a lot of time with Jon, watched a lot of their shows. You just try and just do whatever you can to gain an understanding of who these people are, and of how they, you're trying to see the world through their eyes and walk in their shoes. So all the work that goes into doing that. But these particular shoes were just a joy to walk in. I'm not sure I'm conscious of that. Jon is a very devoted person. He's devoted to his art form. He's devoted to Bruce. That's something I relate to as well. So that's probably in there somewhere, yeah. Inspired, moved. I mean, I think it's a movie about repairing trauma through art and dealing with our past and reconciling ourselves to the weight that we carry from our past and, finding our way, finding our honest way in the world. So it's a very deep film that's also a great music film. So, I think it's for it's for fans of Bruce, but it's really for anyone. Yeah, but it's about Bruce the man and not Bruce the myth.
My role was that when I read the book that was written by Warren Zanes, and he called to say that he was writing it, we encouraged him. And then when our great producers optioned the book to turn it into a film, they got it to our great writer-director, Scott Cooper, who we didn't know at all. And Bruce and I had a meeting with him. We had one meeting. We said, that's our guy. And we took it from there. It was a very natural, very relaxed process, amazingly free of stress, and happened relatively quickly, Well, they didn't know what they were doing, so we had to, tell them every single thing, every step of the. No, they were fabulous, and Jeremy Strong, who you just talked to, knows more about me than my parents do. I can tell you that, and he just. I call him up now to ask him, what was I doing in 1912, and he's always got the answer. They were just so dedicated, and everybody just really committed emotionally to the project. So it was a real bond, and I think we've all enjoyed being together, just doing all this work right now in preparation for the release. We were together in Telluride in New York and here. And the Jeremys, both Jeremys, I think, and Scott Cooper, our director, Leon and Rome, and everybody's having a great time, the main thing is, can I say what I have to say about the main thing here is, in my opinion, as an individual, this film is fantastic. I love it. That's my contribution.
I mean, amazing. It feels so good to bring this film everywhere. London Film Festival is obviously a kind of a bucket list situation for me, and it's really, really special. Springsteen has huge fans in the UK and Europe. Yeah, definitely. She kind of, she comes under Bruce at a show. And she's a really beautiful character. She's very honest. She's very, she's very direct. And she kind of tells him that it might be possible for him to have a future with a family if that's what he wants. And, whether it works out for them or not, it still kind of introduces him to the idea that maybe he has to work through some things to get where he wants to be. I mean, he's incredible. Not only is he a very, very talented actor, he's also just a lovely human being. And, we had some of our scenes were really fun. Like, we just had to kind of hang out in a carousel at night and, just have a lovely time together. And then there were some scenes that were more difficult and a bit heavier. And in every situation, he was always so, his presence as an actor and his kind of embodiment makes my job very easy. No, we didn't. Scott's not a director who loves to do rehearsals, so I think he just trusted us all enough to know what it required, those scenes, and I think it helped that we liked each other as people, But we just kind of showed up and did what we had to do. There were so many scenes in this script that you kind of think about as an actor, like, I would love to get to do a scene like this. It's especially for me and my participation in the film, it's a romance. I get to do some beautiful romantic scenes, and it's so fulfilling to just let that be really pure and nice. The script was so beautiful. I think I was a huge fan, and still I'm a huge fan of Bruce, but I didn't know so much about this time in his life, and I think that is something that I hope people will be able to take away from the film, is more of an understanding about what it takes for him to be an artist, and just to be an artist in general.
Well, exhilarating. I think it was nearly 50 years ago that Bruce first played in London at the Hammersmith Odeon, and then to bring this film back, to have him here tonight, to tell his most personal journey is, it's thrilling. It's so incredibly rewarding. This will give people insight into Bruce Springsteen, who's more culturally relevant than ever, that they might not have known. And my hope is that people will see that this is not about Bruce Springsteen, the myth or the icon, but Bruce Springsteen, the man, who was wrestling with how honest he could be in his work and facing some incredibly difficult personal moments, unresolved trauma that served as the fuel for Nebraska. I think so. I think it's an incredibly relatable film, even though it's Bruce Springsteen, the icon. Telling the story of the making of an album that meant so personal relevance for me. It was given to me by my father, to whom I've dedicated the film, who died the day before I started shooting the movie, and whose spirit carried me through, and how the actors rallied around me and gave me such truthful and honest and raw performances, all in service of Bruce. I think he's the only one who could play this part. His intensity, his vulnerability, his relatability. He has a working class blue-collar physicality like Bruce, and he has something that you don't learn at acting school, and that's swagger. I hope that they go into the film thinking that it's about Bruce Springsteen, and that they leave the film thinking it's about them.
It's magic. It's fantastic. I actually am lucky enough to be a governor, so it's a pretty big honor to be here with one of my own films instead of being here representing the governor. So it's great, yes. Well, I've been a lifelong fan, so it's a big deal to actually make something that you love and someone about someone you love. So, and Scott Cooper and I have been lucky enough to work together a couple times. And when he said, let's do this, it was a magical moment, right? To actually be able to make a movie you believe in with a filmmaker you believe in about someone who is one of your favorites of all time. Yeah, I think really for Scott, he really saw the insights, and Warren did such an incredible job with the book to actually bring to life this particular time in Bruce's life, right? Which I think really made for something interesting for the audience, right? It's about a time in all of our lives where we doubt. And are we going to actually be able to achieve something? And do we hold true to what we believe in compared to what other people tell us? So I think it's a great message for all of us to stay true to what you believe in, and to have friends and mentors like Jon Landau to actually keep us straight and make us believe that we can achieve whatever we think we can. You know, I think love. I think really it's a movie about hope and friendship and love, and I think we all need it. I think, you know, everyone who's achieved greatness has had a great coach or family member or teacher or something to help them along the way, and I think it shows the human connectivity of what we can all achieve when we actually connect. You know, he just really embodied the spirit of it. You know, he's very soulful, and Bruce is obviously one of the great soulful artists of our time and one of the great storytellers, and Jeremy had that and that quiet intensity that I think Bruce has as well, and you know, and he really did an incredible job and did all the hard work to learn the music and how to sing and do all the things. So it's a real achievement for him, and I think hopefully audience to see what an incredible actor he is.